Hello and welcome to HITC Sevens and to today's video, which comes with rather a large disclaimer. For a long time now, people have been asking me to make a video of what the French national team might look like if France couldn't call upon any players of African descent, presumably due to the fact that I run a what if series looking at how various national teams could line up if all eligible players had declared for them. Now, personally, I've resisted the idea because it felt to me as though any such concept would have an innate suggestion of racial purity and all of the ugly connotations that come with notions of that ilk. Someone like Raphael Varane, who was born and raised in France, is as French as Voltaire or Charles de Gaulle as far as I'm concerned, and the fact that he technically could have represented Martinique, which is itself a French overseas territory, doesn't make a blind bit of difference to that fact. I'm also not quite sure what difference it makes if the player in question could have played for an African nation rather than any other nation, hence why this video is about French players who could only play for France, and not just French players who couldn't have played for an African national team. So the likes of Aymeric Laporte, Antoine Griezmann and Olivier Giroud, all of whom were born in France, are also out of the picture, because all of them could have played for other national teams. Of course, France's three greatest players of all time, Michel Platini, Zinedine Zidane and Thierry Henry, all could have represented other countries. Italy in Platini's case, Algeria in Zidane's, and either Guadeloupe or Martinique in the case of Henry. So if anything, this video just goes to show how rubbish even the best European national teams would be without any immigration. It's worth noting that the video is based on the best French 11, who couldn't have represented any other national teams, to the best of my knowledge, by FIFA's eligibility criteria. That means they can't have been born anywhere else, have parents from anywhere else, or even grandparents. It can be difficult to trace a footballer's lineage all the way back to their grandparents, but I've given it my best shot, so hopefully I haven't missed anyone and all the information is accurate. Right. Following maybe my longest introduction of all time, here is my France 11 without players who could have represented any other national team. Goalkeeper, Hugo Lloris. One of very few positions in which I can pick Didier Deschamps' first choice in real life between the sticks, there's no need to deviate from France's actual number one. Hugo Lloris is a very rare example of a footballer who was born into considerable wealth, with most French and indeed footballers worldwide hailing from poor, working class families. Lloris was born into an upper-class family in Nice, where his mother worked as a lawyer and his father worked as a banker in nearby Monte Carlo. Young Hugo was a talented tennis player who almost pursued a career in that sport, but instead, both he and his brother Gautier opted for a life of professional football. Hugo came through the youth ranks at Nice before starring for Lyon and eventually earning a move to Tottenham. With 118 caps to his name, Lloris is the third most capped French footballer of all time, and he'll soon leapfrog Thierry Henry into second place. Right back, Mathieu Debuchy. Uncapped for 5 years, 35-year-old fullback Mathieu Debuchy earns a recall in this fantasy French 11. Another man who has spent time in North London, Debuchy didn't play quite as many games for Arsenal as Lloris has for Spurs, just 30 in 4 years in fact. Born in the commune of Fretin, around 10 miles outside of Lille, at a similar distance from the French border with Belgium, despite his close proximity to another country, Debuchy seemingly has no immediate ancestry outside of the drawn-upon borders of modern-day France. He joined his boyhood club Lille at the age of 8, going on to play just shy of 300 games and win both the Ligue 1 title and a Coupe de France with the club. Debuchy returned to France from the Premier League in January 2018 in the far more southern city of Saint-Etienne, and the 27-time capped French international now captains the club. Centre-back, Florian Lejeune. From a former Newcastle United man at right-back to one who is still contracted to the Magpies at centre-back, Florian Lejeune joined Newcastle in 2017, although he is currently on loan in Spain with Alaves. Although he was born in Paris, Lejeune actually began his career on France's south coast in the nation's 4th tier before stepping up to Ligue 2 with Istres. He has since moved to Spain, then back to France, then to England, and now back to Spain again, although he is yet to, and seems highly unlikely ever to, win a senior cap for France. Lejeune did represent Les Bleus at under 20 level, and without the likes of Samuel Umtiti, Raphael Varane, Lucas Hernandez, Aymeric Laporte, and even Laurent Koscielny, who could have represented Poland, he might just have had a chance of winning a senior call-up. Centre-back, Clement Lenglet. Another native of northern France, Clement Lenglet grew up supporting PSG, but he has never played for the Parisians. The 25-year-old came through the youth ranks at Nancy when the club was in Ligue 2, but he helped them to promotion in his penultimate season with the club. They were immediately relegated, but Lenglet wasn't there by the time their fate was sealed, having departed for Sevilla midway through the campaign. Following 18 months in the south of Spain, Lenglet joined current club Barcelona in the summer of 2018, and soon after, he won the first of his 10 caps for France to date. Left back, Lucas Digne. One of the strongest players in this 11, despite having spent virtually half of his career outside of France, Lucas Digne is one of only a few current French internationals who I don't believe could have represented any other countries. A native of the picturesque commune of Meaux, around 25 miles east of Paris, it was in the highly regarded Lille Academy that Digne earned his footballing education. Having excelled in the Lille first team, he signed for PSG before heading to Barcelona. Now starring under Carlo Ancelotti at Everton, Digne has a wand of a left foot, and the 27-year-old has won 33 caps for France to date. Defensive midfield, Maxime Gonalons. There are a few players in this 11 who have been full French internationals in real life, just not for a while now, and Maxime Gonalons is another who falls into that bracket. A classic defensive midfielder, Gonalons has a tremendous work ethic, he reads the game well, and he spent 8 fantastic years at Lyon. He was linked with everyone from Arsenal to Manchester United for a couple of years, but in the end he signed for Roma, and his career has pretty much been downhill ever since. Gonalons hasn't added to his 8 caps since 2015, he suffered an awful injury-plagued season on loan at Sevilla, and the man from Lyon will spend this season on loan in La Liga with Granada. Defensive midfield, Jordan Veretout. The more creative of our 2 midfield sitters, whilst Maxime Gonalons would be tasked with breaking up everything in front of our back 4, Jordan Veretout would be the one breaking lines, picking his head up, and looking to play a through ball. Famously uninspiring in a relegated Aston Villa side, many of whom have gone on to enjoy success elsewhere since then, Veretout left Villa for Serie A. He has since starred for both Fiorentina and Roma, coming close to breaking into an excellent France midfield, but never quite getting that call from Didier Deschamps. Born in the former commune of Anceny in Brittany, 23 miles southwest of Nantes, it was with Nantes that Veretout spent the first 4 years of his career before signing for Villa. Right wing, Jeff-René Adelaide. Jeff-René Adelaide can trace some form of ancestry to the French colony of Martinique, I've seen it said, but I am unable to find any route for him into the Martinique national team. I may well be wrong, but unable to find any concrete evidence that either René Adelaide's parents or grandparents qualify him to represent the Caribbean region, he has to make this 11. Born in the suburbs of Paris, René Adelaide first joined the Academy of Lens and then Arsenal. René Adelaide's career has gone at 100 miles an hour in recent years. He left Arsenal for Angers in 2018, where his excellent form prompted a €25 million switch to Lyon. Oddly, after just 6 months at Lyon, René Adelaide was on the move once again, joining Nice on loan with an option to make that deal a permanent one for between 25 and €27.5 million. René Adelaide has long been a key man for France's under-21s, but he is yet to win a senior cap. Attacking midfield, Martin Terrier. Making it 2 ex-Lyon stars of France's under-21s in quick succession, Martin Terrier left Lyon in July 2020 in an initial €12 million switch to Rennes. A pacey and versatile number 7 who can play on the left or right, as a number 10, a second striker, or even up top on his own, it's as an attacking midfielder or withdrawn forward that he starts in this 11, tasked with linking our midfield and attack. Born on the French-Belgian border, Terrier began his career with Lille, much like a number of players in this 11, before joining Lyon in 2018. He bagged 17 goals in 77 games for Lyon, in addition to 7 in 13 for France's under-21s, and he could prove to be a real bargain for Rennes. Left wing, Franck Ribery. He may be 48 years old and uncapped by France since 1946, but Franck Ribery will be tasked to step up to the plate without the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, and Kingsley Coman on the scene. I jest, of course, Ribery is only actually 37, and his last cap for France came 6 years ago, shortly before he missed the 2014 World Cup through injury. Ribery had a magnificent club career, but a slightly underwhelming international career, with his playing days narrowly missing out on French golden generations at either side. The diminutive wide man will always be best remembered for his 12 years at Bayern Munich, where he won it all and made the Bundesliga team of the season 5 times, despite a myriad of injury problems. Ribery now plays for Fiorentina, and he has just entered what will surely be his last season in the game. Centre forward, Renaud Rippart. Not quite a household name like Antoine Griezmann or even Olivier Giroud, those of you with little interest in Ligue 1 probably won't even have heard of Nîmes forward Renaud Rippart. Out of interest, Griezmann misses out since he could have represented either Germany or Portugal in addition to France. Meanwhile, Giroud has 2 Italian grandmothers. Rippart just has French parents and French grandparents as far as I'm aware though, and he was born in Nîmes, which is often dubbed the most Roman city outside of Italy. Rippart was born and raised in Nîmes, and the only time he has left for any period of time was a season on loan with Bastia in Corsica. Aged 27, he has now spent 9 seasons in the Nîmes first team, where he has bagged 37 goals in 192 games in the league. So that's it for my France, and could only ever have been France 11, if that makes any sense. Now, I wasn't going to do any substitutes or honourable mentions for this one, but I've discovered that as far as I can tell at least, Adrien Rabiot could only ever have played for France as well. Now, I can't in all good conscience give him an honourable mention, since I think it's fair to say that he would have to come in for Maxime Godelan. So here is your revised 11 with an honourable mention to Maxime Godelan. Oh, and actually just one more to Florian Lejeune, who didn't make my 11, but is a really neat and tidy midfielder. And if what I just read online about him earning £11,000 a week at Montpellier is true, he's also probably one of the most underpaid players in French football. Still, I wouldn't mind swapping my salary with his, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, Florent. Thank you all for watching today's video, and feel free to let me know which national teams you could represent in the comments. I'm sure there are some interesting avenues we could take this series down, like a video on the players who had the choice of representing the most national teams, or a video on some of the more surprising eligibility rulings, such as André Pierre Gignac having been eligible to represent Algeria, which came as a surprise to me at least. Hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to subscribe should you wish to stay up to date with the channel and see or hear more of me in the future, and you can also find me on Twitter or Instagram, or both, via the username at HITC Sevens on both platforms.